Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Lily. If you're new here, I'm the person behind Crafts and Crumbs, and if you're not new here, thanks so much for coming back. I really appreciate it. So in today's video, we're going to be starting my new knitting project, which is going to be the Friday Slipover by Petite Knit, which I'm really excited about because I recently finished making my Marielle blouse, which I just so happen to be wearing. So this is my Marielle blouse. It looks so cute. I'm so happy with it. If you haven't seen my recent video about it, go check it out. It's where I finished the sweater. So this video, we're going to be starting and working on my Friday Slipover. I've actually already made a Friday Slipover before in a different set of colors, and I really loved it. The fit was a little funky. I did some weird modifications to it, so I'm a little curious to see how this one will go, but it still looks really cute and I wear it all the time. So this Friday Slipover, I'm going to be making it in the same yarn combination as I did my last one, but in different colors. So this is Drops Flora and Drops Brushed Alpaca Silk, both in matching shades of brown. The Drops Flora is number 8 and the Drops Brushed Alpaca Silk is color number 5. So they look really nice, and I'm really excited about that. I also just finished making my swatch for it that looks really good. I love the pattern. Broken rib is so nice. So if you don't know, the Friday Slipover by Petite Knit is an all-around broken rib pattern. It's a slipover, so no sleeves. It's only kind of like a vest, which I really love. So with these two different shades of brown that really do match very well, and yet they still mold together really nicely and give kind of a deeper color, which I really enjoy, and that it's not like just one solid color of brown. I think that's really nice. My swatch turned out really nicely. However, it is slightly bigger. So I'm knitting this on 3.5 millimeters when the pattern says 4, and my gauge swatch came out 12 centimeters by 12 centimeters instead of 10 by 10. So lengthwise, I'm not so concerned because I can just shorten it. Widthwise, it's a little bit bigger, so 2 centimeters wider. So I'm debating sizing down, and maybe that'll work. I was thinking of sizing down anyways because my original Friday Slipover is just a little bit wider than I think it needs to be, and there's a lot of excess yarn. So I think I'm going to size down anyways, and then the extra 2 centimeters will help kind of bring it to a nice middle. So grab your knitting project or whatever you're working on. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and let's start making the Friday Slipover together. So I'm checking in. So I am on row 44 out of 48 of my back panel before the increases for the armholes. However, it also says to go according to lengthwise, and since my gauge swatch is a little off lengthwise, I decided to stop for a minute just to measure it, and I have about 2 centimeters extra of length. However, I did some modifications on my last Friday Slipover that turned out really nicely, so I think I'm going to do that as well here. So I am going to stop now, so I do have extra 2 centimeters, and I did 4 rows less. so my gauge is just longer than it needs to be. So I'm gonna stop here and I'll start doing the increases for the armholes. Also, when I put it like on my back, it looks good based on like where I'll start doing the increases for the armholes. So I think that that'll look pretty good even though the numbers don't really add up. So let's start doing the increases. Popping on for a little update. So I just finished the increases that I needed to do for the back panel. So I'm about to break the yarn and we'll start with the shoulders, which is really exciting. I love the pattern. I love broken rib. I think it's such a pretty stitch. I love that it's like a crossover between rib and stockinette. It looks like stockinette, but with a little extra something, which makes it super elegant, which I really love. I am a little frustrated because for some reason with this slipover pattern, I can never make it match exactly what it says in the pattern. So she goes by amount of stitches and lengthwise that you need. And I can never get them to match up. I always have either the stitch count or the length right. So it's a little frustrating, but that's okay. Maybe it's just my gauge and it's one of those patterns. So I guess that's okay. So I modified it a little bit and I could also play around with it later, either add on more or less stitches under the arms when I get there. I also really wanted to thank you guys so much for all the love and appreciation on my recent videos. It was so exciting and fun to see. I loved your guys' comments. Feel free to comment more, talk about what you're knitting. I love to hear it. If you have any questions about patterns, I'd love to chat and talk about it. So thank you so much. Feel free to keep on commenting and let's keep building this community together. So without further ado, let's start working on the shoulders. Hello. So I just finished both shoulders and now I'll connect for the front and start working the front piece, and then I'll connect in the round and start working on the body, which is really great. So I'm making a lot of good progress in really good time, which is really great. But I also really wanted to talk about yarns and ordering yarns and how we pick our next projects and things like that, because I was in a crisis the past few days because of the extra blue yarn now that I have from the Somme cardigan, the Drops brushed alpaca silk that I was planning on using that I'm not using for the Somme cardigan. I just couldn't seem to decide on what I wanted to make with it, and I went over hundreds of patterns, it feels like, and lots of different kinds of yarns that I could pair it with, and I just really couldn't seem to decide on what I wanted to do with it. For some reason, I'm not feeling that inspired by that color right now. I'm really enjoying kind of the grays, the more neutral tones. I want to kind of play around with that more, do a little bit of more of a charcoal gray, maybe even some blacks, and I'm feeling like those colors are calling to me a little bit more than more colorful colors. So I wanted to just bring this topic up for conversation, and I'd love to hear your guys' opinions in the comments down below about how you pick your future projects, how you pick your future yarns, and how you choose what you want to make based on either on how you planned, and then in the moment when it actually comes, how you pick which project you actually want to work on. Because I was really excited about this color when I ordered it and when it arrived, and now I just don't really want to make something with it. I don't know why. I don't really feel like making a sweater with it. I don't want like an all over blue sweater. I think I do like the idea of it as like a lace work kind of light, dreamy kind of cardigan, but for some reason I can't either find the pattern or the yarn doesn't fit well to the patterns that I like. So I bought a lot of patterns that I don't really use throughout the years. So I want to start using the patterns that I actually bought before buying new ones. So I ended up going back and looking at all the patterns that I have to see if something kind of inspires me and that's something that I want to make. And I found one pattern that I really, really like and that really inspires me. And I have a bunch of extra yarn of the Drops Brushed Alpaca Silk from my Mariel blouse. So I've decided to use that and to pair it with a different colored gray, kind of more of a charcoaly gray. And so I just placed my order for that and for yarn for another project, which we'll talk about in future videos, which I'm very excited about. So I ended up settling on the right yarn, on the right pattern, and now I'm very excited about both of those projects. But I'd love to hear your guys' opinions on how you pick your projects and yarns, because sometimes it can be really overwhelming. There are so many different kinds of yarns and hundreds of thousands of patterns and colors, and sometimes I feel like I get decision fatigue in knitting and I just want to turn my brain off and not have to think about anything, but I can't put it down until I figure out what I want to do with that yarn. So I still don't have an idea for what to do with the blue yarn, but that's okay. And maybe I need to just put it aside for now, maybe make something else with it, maybe something that isn't for me, and that's also fine. So I just wanted to share that. I assume that there are a lot of other people who have that same issue that I do, and I know that I'll find the perfect pattern for what I want to make with the blue yarn at some point. The blue yarn isn't going anywhere. It's right here, and I can use it whenever I want. So let's start working on the front panel. So while I'm still making progress on my Friday Slipover, I am going to cast on a new project, and that is going to be a baby blanket because some friends of ours just had a baby, which is very exciting. They had a baby boy, and we're all really happy about it. So I thought it would be really sweet and really fun to make them a baby blanket. I have made one baby blanket before, and it turned out really, really sweet and cute. So I think I want to do the same pattern for this one. So we went to our local yarn store to find yarn that would be appropriate for a baby blanket, and we came across the Himalaya anti-pilling. This is the Everyday BB Luxe. It is 100% acrylic, which I don't love. I try to use natural fibers. However, because it's for a baby, I did want to make sure that it would be good and safe for a baby, and it is anti-pilling, which I really liked. So the color number is number 70447 if you're interested. I've used Himalaya before. They have really, really nice yarns, even though they're synthetics. So I think I'm going to swatch for the baby blanket just to make sure that I like the pattern, that I like the yarn, that everything looks good, and then I'll start working on the blanket as well as the Friday Slipover. Well, something happened. And by something happened, I mean I was stupid and just didn't read the instructions properly. So I'm working on the front panel, and I was supposed to do a certain amount of centimeters from where I picked up stitches all the way at the shoulder. And for some reason, I read it as 16 centimeters from where I picked up stitches at the front. So I've been going and going like everything's good for a really long time, and then I realized something feels funky, and I looked at the instructions and I realized that I was doing way too much before starting the increases for the armholes on the front panel. So now we have to undo about 6 centimeters of broken rib that I did. It's not too bad. It's okay. It's better to have done and have to undo than having missed something. And then I feel like having to go back and like redo half of the body or something. It's fine. It's not that big of a deal. So let's go undo the last 6 centimeters that I did so we can start doing the increases for the armholes and finish the front panel. Okay, so I just finished connecting the front panel and the back panel together, so now I'm just going to be working in the round until I basically finish the slipover. It's something that I love about slipover so much is that there aren't sleeves, which sometimes is a really nice break because sleeves can be a little annoying sometimes. And then all I'll need to do is basically just ribbing and the neckline, and then I'll be done with my Friday slipover, and I'm really excited about that. So like and subscribe to follow along the process with the Friday slipover and see what I'm up to next. Comment down below what your projects are right now or what you want to cast on, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!